15 Things You Didn't Know About Universal. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Aluxers, and welcome to another exciting original video presented by Alux.com. Today we're revealing some interesting and surprising facts about the oldest film studio in the United States, Universal Pictures. Universal Pictures was founded in 1912 by German immigrant Carl Laemmle as the Universal Film Manufacturing Company. The studio quickly established itself as a leader in the industry and became part of the Big Six studios that ruled Hollywood during the golden age of the 1930s and 40s. Universal has had some major ups and downs over its 106 years of existence, but it's currently stronger than ever under the ownership of Comcast. Universal has introduced some of the most popular film franchises in history, including The Fast and the Furious, Despicable Me, the Bourne series, Jurassic Park, and Back to the Future, along with many classics like Jaws, E.T., The Breakfast Club, Scarface, Schindler's List, The Birds, and so many more. Recent hits include Jurassic World, Bridesmaids, The Boss Baby, The Fate of the Furious, the 50 Shades of Grey franchise, and Get Out. If you're new here, welcome! Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. We're inspired by Universal's longevity, incredible success, innovative spirit, and forward-thinking nature. So, let's take a closer look at this multi-billion-dollar entertainment company with the 15 things you didn't know about Universal. Number 1. Universal's founder came up with the company's name randomly. Universal's founder, Carl Laemmle, was inspired to name the company Universal after seeing a passing delivery wagon with the words Universal Pipe Fittings advertised on the side. He decided to call his new business the Universal Film Manufacturing Company. Number 2. 2017 was Universal's most successful year in its history. Despite global box office numbers going down, Universal posted its highest earnings in the company's 106-year history, with over $5 billion grossed at worldwide box offices. It's only the second time Universal has passed the $5 billion milestone. The revenue was largely driven by Despicable Me 3 and The Fate of the Furious, as well as other hits, including Get Out and Girls Trip. Number 3. Universal opened the world's largest motion picture production facility in 1915. Universal City Studios was opened on a 230-acre converted farm near Hollywood in 1915, becoming the world's largest motion picture production facility. It remained the largest studio in Hollywood for a decade, and was different from other Hollywood studios in that tourists were welcome to tour the studio. The current studio remains on the same site as the original, making it the oldest and most famous Hollywood film studio still in use. Number 4. Universal was the first studio to have $3 billion films in one year. In 2015, Universal had a record-breaking year, achieving something no other studio had accomplished up to that time, having 3 films that made over $1 billion in the same year. Those 3 films were Furious 7, which grossed $1.52 billion, Jurassic World, which grossed $1.52 billion, and Minions, which grossed $1.16 billion. Number 5. Universal's E.T. the Extraterrestrial was the highest-grossing film of the 1980s. When Steven Spielberg's film E.T. the Extraterrestrial was released in June of 1982, it was an immediate hit. It surpassed Star Wars to become the highest-grossing film of all time, and it held on to the title for 11 years, before another Steven Spielberg film, Jurassic Park, took its spot in 1993. However, it does stand as the highest-grossing film of the 1980s, with a total box office revenue of $793 million. Number 6. Carl Laemmle Jr. became head of the studio as a 21st birthday present. Carl Laemmle Sr. was known for nepotism. In fact, he reportedly had 70 of his family members on Universal's payroll at one point. So it probably wasn't too surprising to the Universal employees when Carl Sr. made Carl Jr. the head of the company as a 21st birthday present in 1928. Carl Jr. made major changes to the studio, in particular modernizing it for sound production in films. He also created a horror film niche for Universal, with a series of popular films including Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, and The Invisible Man. Number 7. Despicable Me is the highest-grossing animated franchise. In 2017, the Despicable Me franchise surpassed the Shrek movies to become the highest-grossing animated franchise ever, with a total worldwide gross of $3.6 billion. It's the only animated franchise to have two films grossing over $1 billion worldwide, which were Minions with $1.16 million and Despicable Me 3 with $1.03 million. Number 8. Showboat caused the Lemm Lees to lose the company. In the mid-1930s, Universal took on an ambitious project, recreating the hit Broadway musical Showboat as a high-quality, big-budget film. Carl Laemmle Jr. was forced to take out a $750,000 production loan from the Standard Capital Corporation, pledging the Laemmle family's controlling interest in Universal as the collateral. This was the first time Universal had borrowed money for any film in its 26-year history. It turned out to be a terrible mistake for the Lemm Lees, though. The production went $300,000 over budget, and Standard called in the loan. Universal was unable to pay, and Standard foreclosed, seizing control of the studio in April of 1936. Although Showboat was a financial success when it was released in 1936, the Lemm Lees were unceremoniously removed from the company they founded, and Carl Jr. never worked in Hollywood again. Number 9. Universal sold their studio lot to MCA for $11 million. In 1958, after a period of complete shutdown, Universal sold their studio lot to MCA, the Music Corporation of America. Although MCA owned the lot, they didn't own Universal Pictures at that point, but they did sign some of their best clients like Cary Grant, Doris Day, and Alfred Hitchcock to Universal contracts. In 1962, MCA did take over the company, and just about every MCA client was signed with Universal. Under MCA's direction, Universal became an A-list movie studio. Number 10. Universal is the fourth oldest major film studio in the world. Universal is the oldest continuously operating film studio in America, and it's the fourth oldest major film studio worldwide that is still in operation. Only the renowned French studios the Gaumont Film Company and Path and the Danish Nordisk Film Company have been around longer. If you want to find out some more about the fifth oldest film studio in the world, click in the upper right-hand corner to watch our video of 15 things you didn't know about Paramount. Number 11. Universal had two of the top 5 grossing films of 2017. Although Disney claimed the top 2 spots on the list of the highest grossing films of 2017, with Star Wars: The Last Jedi and Beauty and the Beast, Universal claimed the 3rd and 4th spots, with films that both made over $1 billion. Number 3 was The Fate of the Furious, which made over $1.2 billion, and number 4 was Despicable Me 3, which brought in over $1 billion worldwide. Sony claimed the 5th spot with Spider-Man: Homecoming. Number 12. Universal has been owned by Panasonic, Seagram, and General Electric. In 1990, the company that is known as Panasonic purchased MCA, which included Universal, for $6.6 billion. 5 years later, Panasonic sold an 80% stake of MCA and Universal to Seagram, a Canadian drinks distributor, for $5.7 billion. In 2000, Seagram was sold to a French company called Vivendi, which renamed itself as Vivendi Universal. Just 4 years later, Vivendi made a deal with General Electric, after which GE owned 80% of what was then known as NBC Universal, and they bought the remaining 20% back in 2011. Later in 2011, GE sold 51% of Universal to cable provider Comcast, and Comcast bought the remaining 49% of NBC Universal for $16.7 billion back in 2013. Number 13. Universal's highest-grossing film is Jurassic World. 6 Universal films have surpassed the billion-dollar gross mark, but the most successful film in their history is the 2015 film Jurassic World, which brought in $1.67 billion at the box offices worldwide. Number 14. Universal has 3 of the 5 fastest movies to gross $1 billion. The film that currently holds the record as the fastest film to gross $1 billion is Disney's Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which was released in 2015 and grossed over $1 billion in just 12 days. This overtook Universal's Jurassic World, which was also released in 2015 and grossed over $1 billion in just 13 days. Universal also has numbers 3 and 4 on the list, with Furious 7, which achieved the milestone in 17 days, and The Fate of the Furious, which did it in 19. The 5th spot is claimed by Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which also grossed $1 billion in 19 days. Number 15. Universal's parent company bought DreamWorks for $3.8 billion. In April of 2016, Comcast announced that it would be buying DreamWorks Animation for $3.8 billion. This enables Universal to take over distribution of DreamWorks films, starting with the 2019 film How to Train Your Dragon 3, after DreamWorks' distribution deal with 20th Century Fox comes to an end. Now that you've learned more about Universal, we'd like to know, what's your favorite Universal film? Let us know in the comments. Still here? Here's a bonus fact just for you. Universal was responsible for the first films of many actors, actresses, and directors who would go on to have incredible success in Hollywood, including Clint Eastwood, Steven Spielberg, Ben Stiller, John Hughes, Amy Heckerling, Spike Jonze, and Judd Apatow. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.